As individuals, we often have fixed expectations or impressions on ourselves and others. This creates an invisible barrier subconsciously that keeps us from going above and beyond what we could potentially go. Oftentimes, this bond results in negative impacts, both internally and externally. Today, I'll be explaining the harms of a fixed expectation, as well as the importance of shattering the expectations placed on you by yourself and others. When we place expectations on ourselves, it can result in stress and disappointment. When we set expectations that are too high, it can result in disappointment when we don't meet those expectations. And unfortunately, in the long term, this can cause the loss of self esteem. When we have expectations for ourselves that are, say, too low, and we often think of ourselves as not good enough, that we're not aesthetically pleasing, or if we're not intelligent enough, not only does this also damage our self esteem, but can also limit our own potential if we keep thinking these thoughts. As the author of many New York Times bestsellers, Lisa Kleypas once said, "You are your own worst enemy. If you can learn to stop expecting the impossible perfection in yourself and others, you may find the happiness that has always eluded you." When we have these fixed mindsets about ourselves, we're prematurely putting ourselves into a box. Either it's too tight and confines our potential, or it's too big and makes us feel hopeless or lost. However, if we learn to let go of these expectations that we place on ourselves, we get a deeper understanding of ourselves. Not only will we be able to release our full potential, but we'll also be able to understand and accept our shortcomings. Finally, as Henry Ford said, there's no man living that cannot do more than he thinks he can. Shattering our expectations helps us reach heights that we never knew we could achieve before. This allows us to improve on ourselves in the future and be all the happier while we're doing it because we're not having that stress. And externally, when we are placing expectations, we should not place expectations on others. When we place expectations on others, it can result in the same thing. The expectations that we place on others can result in stress, unhappiness, and also the loss of self-esteem. Now, we know the harms of placing expectations on ourselves, just as we learned. And what's so different about having expectations placed on us? Now, they do the same harm. Bruce Lee famously said, "I'm not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you're not in this world to live up to mine." So we should keep this in mind. And because if we don't want expectations placed on us because we know that can be bad, we shouldn't place expectations on others because we don't know whether that expectation will make them or break them. Now, by understanding the harms of expectations can have on us, we now realize the importance of shattering those expectations. Shattering the expectation that people have on us allows us to unlock our true potential, perform better, and be overall happier. In addition, it's important to not place expectations on others because we don't know whether those expectations will be beneficial or harmful to them. So, what are you waiting for? It's time to shatter the expectations people place on you. It's time to shatter the expectations that you place on yourself so that you can achieve those successes that you never knew you could before.